All right, everybody, welcome into the show. It is Friday. That's payday around these parts. Welcome to the right side of campus, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be your host today, Donnie Rightside, along with my partner in crime, Jeff Nadeau. Big man, busy weekend ahead. Soccer's back in the fold. NBA basketball tonight. Major League Baseball is going to rule the card. How's it going today, boss?
Doing good, Donnie. Yeah, around here, around our parts, we try to payday every day, but, I guess Friday is the normal day that people get paid. So, yeah, a big day here. Obviously, a big weekend coming up. Lot to do, as are these, kind of springish, getting into summer matchups. You got a lot of NBA. You got the NBA tonight, possibly the end of the NBA season tonight. You also have the full baseball card. You have the Belmont Stakes tomorrow. You have plenty of World Cup qualifier action tonight. So plenty to do tonight, Donnie.
No, very interesting. And again, payday is Friday typically, Jeff, but the industry that we're in and the jobs that we have, technically that's not really correct. Most people would say maybe Monday would be payday. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah, and you're right about that. If you have a local, which I know growing up around these parts, I know many of us have had them, it's either Monday or Tuesday. So, yes, I'm very familiar with that Monday payday option. Sure.
Absolutely, folks. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to SBR here on the on YouTube channel. Over 29,000 have already done so. We've been seeing that steadily rise over the past couple months. Also on Twitter, if you haven't done so yet, at SBR Sports Picks. Check out SBRodds.com. And, of course, follow me on Twitter at RightSideVP and also the big man at Jeff Nadeau. Certainly giving you some information and opportunities. Jeff and I like to tweet a lot. We like to tweet our opinions. And we like to have a lot of fun on Twitter. So please give us a follow. Jeff, what do you say, man? We hit this baseball card running here today.
Yeah, a lot to do. Background looks different, Bigman. Yes, I've changed rooms. I'm now in an office, and somebody's saying, let's get some decoration in that room. Yep, I'm ordering a custom fathead, Donnie, that's going to go right behind me.
Of yourself, right?
Say that again?
A custom fathead of yourself, correct?
No, it's actually of Mike Brenner. Rest in peace to him. So I'm getting him. Obviously, him not being here anymore, I wanted to remind everyone of Mike Brenner every day. No, it's just going to be of the SPR logo. So, this actually originally was a bedroom, so I kind of converted it into an office, and I'm kind of working on getting some custom-made rugs and furniture and all sorts of stuff. So, yes, there's not much on the wall now except for that picture behind me. But, yes, Donnie, I'm ready. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, a lot of people look forward to Friday, obviously getting ahead for the weekend. And finally, for a while, Jeff, I figured we were living in Seattle, hung in, the low 60s and rain just about every day. But it looks like that summer weather is about to break through here in the Northeast. Let's get going here on the card. Early day afternoon action here, 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Colorado and Chicago. It's going to be Marquez and Montgomery today, making a spot start for the Chicago Cubs. 62% of the tickets backing the road team here, Jeff. Colorado with a beautiful victory last night, also staying under the number with a win in Chicago. Opening up on the total at 8.5, Jeff. Looks like 8.5 pretty much across the board. 9 popping up at sportsbook.com. If we take a look at sides here, however, a heavy favorite for Chicago being a spot start against a decent team. Opened at -147. Jeff currently sits at Chris at -153 at SBRodds.com. If you take a look at some particulars here, Jeff, on the game, Marquez, very good, as well as most of these young pitchers in Colorado. 4 road starts, 3.27 ERA. Montgomery, who is getting the spot start, hasn't had a start yet here. But Jeff, through 36 innings this year in Major League Baseball, 2.21 ERA. And we'll see how he does. He's a former first rounder, so comes in a little heralded, but just hasn't worked out so far as a full-time starter. The Rockies, as we know, after the win last night, Jeff, 22-10 on the road. Chicago still fighting themselves, 30-29 overall, but 5-2 in the month of June. What gives you today, Jeff? An early afternoon matinee in Chicago.
Yeah, and it's actually a pretty good game as far as from a record standpoint. I mean, you have 2 pretty good teams here. Obviously, Colorado surprised this year. Cubs have kind of been surprising on a losing level and not playing as well. Plus, Donnie, I mean, you look at some of the things going on off the field. I mean, you have Addison Russell's kind of problems, which I got to be honest, from the look of Addison Russell, he doesn't come across to me as someone that would do that, but just goes to show you, don't ever believe just one side of a story. You always want to look at many sides, but it's been kind of a trying year for the Cubs so far. They have been very good at home for the most part. They're usually doing a lot of their winning at home. But Donnie, you look at Mike Montgomery here. he's the long reliever for them, and he's been pretty good in the major leagues. He was back when he pitched for Seattle. He was very good. He's been very good so far with the Cubs, so a good option to have as a long reliever, someone that could come in, give you 5 innings. But again, Donnie, what do we know about long relievers? They're not going to go that deep into a game. You're going to give 4 or 5 innings, and depending on the umpire, that could mean 60, 70 pitches, 4 or 5 innings. So yeah, that's concerning. And Marquez, Donnie, we've talked about, he's been pretty good for the most part. Particularly Colorado's won 6 of 7. At this price, Donnie, I would take a shot with Colorado here. I think they're a side that will be able to hit clearly. They're a team that puts runs on the board. And with that long reliever, I just don't know how long we're going to see Mike Montgomery. I know we're probably going to get a pretty good effort here out of German Marquez.
Yeah, taking a look at there, I haven't seen any doing some prep work for the show and getting ready. Didn't see any lineups come out yet, but I'd be interested to see if that Colorado brings one of their stronger lineups out here. Obviously trying to get a win and still continue to build momentum here. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I got to ask you, though. I mean, I feel like whatever lineup they put out is pretty strong. I mean, you look at their lineup today: Blackmon, LeMahieu, Arenado, Reynolds, Gonzalez, Desmond, Story, Hannigan. I don't like Story.
Yeah, they're good then. That's a good lineup. I like that, though.
Yeah, I guess I don't like Hannigan. I kind of like Story. We all know how we feel about Mark Reynolds, but Donnie, Mark Reynolds is hitting almost 300 this year, surprisingly. So, yes. I mean, that lineup for me looks pretty damn good. So, at this price, I would go with the Rockies.
Yeah. If we take a Iceman 89 here on the chat board, Donnie, do you ever bet sides or just totals? What do you think about the Cincinnati over 3.5? This year, primarily with my big ticket wagers, we've been sitting on the overs. They've been working out really well for us. We like to stay hot. Jeff will tell you, in the past, I've gone whole seasons where I bet nothing but first fives, nothing but sides. It changes up depending on what you feel. As I say in the industry, Jeff would agree as well. If you're not changing up your mindset and continuing to see what works, you're going to fall down, because what I did in baseball maybe 2 years ago, betting first fives, might not be good now. So I'm going to stick with the totals to see what's hitting right now. But at any time, I mean, it's always flipping back and forth depending on what the situation is. Jeff can build on that as well with his technique on that.
Yeah. I'm more of and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I have a different kind of way of looking at baseball than most people do. I'm looking more into, I just get teams and I just bet on them or against them all year, with like the Diamondbacks, with the Dodgers at home, betting against the Philadelphia Phillies. I'll throw a team in once in a while and they're playing well or something like that. But I stick mostly to sides. I did bet a total last night and got my ass kicked. I'm 2-2 on the week. But yeah, I have an odd way of looking. Honestly, Donnie, I have an odd way of looking at most sports that I bet on. I'm not one of these people. I don't care about market movements and shit. I don't care about that. I look at a team, particularly in college, which is where I think my strong suits are. Most of the time, I just look at, is a team better than the other? I kind of entrench myself in trends and things like that. And Donnie, we've talked about it time and time again. This business is all about information. How good are you at going out and finding information? Baseball makes it easy, Donnie. There's a beat reporter for every team. When you're studying Kent State football or Oregon State basketball, you have to go out and go to the source. There might only be one reporter for that team, and it's some student getting paid $9 an hour. So you really have to be cognizant and try to find good information. Baseball's a little easier. There's not as many teams, and you can kind of find information. But yeah, I have an odd way of doing it, but it's kind of worked for me. And over the course of the year, I know I'm going to make money. I want to point out, Donnie, quickly, Phil Marino had a good point here.
Yes.
Montgomery has been much better at home, but against bad teams, Rockies have momentum. You're right. Plus, he also pointed out, who the hell wants to lay 150 plus with Mike Montgomery? I mean, look, he's a good pitcher, but I mean, you're only going to get him for 4 or 5 innings. So yeah, I'll pass on him.
Yeah, no, interesting. But keeping back on the track with Major League Baseball, I mean, it is a painstaking art that you try to go over and hit with. But Big Man will tell you, in my sports, the easier teams to bet on, the easier leagues is Major League Baseball and the NFL. Wait do you see come through football season? Because a lot of people, haven't tuned in maybe in the past with SBR, with Jeff's podcast or my podcast, listening to us. There is a lot more information, a lot more teams to cover in college football, and it's a passion. That's a Monday through Friday getting you ready for Saturday, as opposed to baseball, which is more of a day-to-day. So as the seasons turn, Jeff and I will get more into how we critique like college football, college basketball go around. But we'll keep it to Major League Baseball today. But that's a good topic for another day that we'll certainly have. Jeff, next up on the docket, 9:03, 9:04. We're going to advance early And Glass now on the mound today. 59% of the public currently betting Pittsburgh at home. Opened up at -115. Has gone up a little bit at Pinnacle, Jeff, to -126. If we're taking a look at totals here, 9.5 it opens. It's a 10 in Major League Baseball in the city of Pittsburgh. A couple years ago, that would be unfathomable had that come out. But if we take a look at some particulars here, Jeff, can you really blame the odds makers for trying to bump that up and get that to double digits? Worley, 3 starts, 7.10 ERA with a 1.4 whip. Glass now, 11 starts, close to a 7 ERA also, a 1.8 whip. Look at that. Between a 1.4 and a 1.8 combined starters, there's going to be some traffic on the bases, one would think. Miami, 26-33 overall. Pittsburgh, 14-14. Last night, Garrett Cole couldn't get it straight. Miami went in there and trounced them. Does that continue today, Jeff? I mean, 2 pitchers that look really hittable here.
Yeah, Vance Worley, Don, has been with 5 different major league teams in his 8-year career. So he's definitely moved around. He actually pitched for Pittsburgh, Donnie, about 3 years ago. And actually, one of the years, I believe it was 2014, is actually pretty effective in 19 games. I think he had an ERA just below 3. Look, he's the pitcher I probably would say I depend on a little bit more here. I'm not betting Glass now. You mentioned his issues. With walks and hits per inning. He's had a brutal ERA. And look, I think Worley's the lesser of 2 evils. I don't think this is a game that I'll have any interest in betting on. It's probably a game from a listener standpoint. Not many people will have interest in betting on. And Donnie, I have to ask, yes. It seems like the Pirates never win. It's like every game I watch, they lose. It's amazing that they've actually won 24 games, I believe, this year. It just seems like this team has been mired in slumps all year. And from that point, I like Miami's lineup better. I like their pitcher here better, but it's really the lesser of 2 evils. Both pitchers have had problems.
Yeah, it's a shame that lineup sort of dived down, so to speak, there. Obviously, with the suspensions, McCutchen has definitely taken a step back. Harrison is finally coming full go and looks to be that hitter and that player that I've been waiting for the past couple of years. But that lineup, every day you don't really know what you're going to get if Polanco's in or out, or, John Jason's going to play or not, or Frazier's going to lead off. For a leadoff guy, he's a good talent. He's a good player, but strikes out way too much. There's a lot of holes in that lineup, which I agree with you, Jeff. On a day-to-day basis, Pittsburgh's a maddening team to try to figure out, man.
Yeah, they are. And Fistful of Parlors is asking, has Glasnow had one good start? I mean, not really. He had one good start against Atlanta back on the 23rd, went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs. But are you asking me, has he had a shutout or a 1-run game? No, he has not. He's been terrible all year. Opponent shooting .308 against him. I can't see one. No, he's had some problems. And listen, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that Vance Worley won't either. Look, if this was 9, I would definitely probably take the over, but 10, it's just getting too high for me. Donnie, I do want to point out, feel free, make sure, like Drew Martin says, don't be a lurker. Feel free to like the show. We have 80+ people on here. Make sure you like the show. As you kind of join the show, like it, give us a comment on the chat box here. And also, Donnie, we got our voicemail fixed. It's ready to go. We played plenty of calls the other night. Feel free. Call the voicemail whenever you want. You can call it at 5 a.m. if you want. You can call it at 2 p.m. Make sure when you call in, you're loud and clear. We can understand you. Make sure you leave your screen name or whatever your name is. We'd love to hear from you. You could talk about how bad we suck, how ugly I am, or whatever you want to do.
I mean, if you're out obviously in the real world there, you just blew a sales deal or somebody, pulled their loan from your company, you're sitting in traffic all day, call an event. Let us know about it, where you're at and what's going on. More of an everyday thing. It's going to be a lot of fun as the summer goes on.
I want to hear you call. Yeah, I want to hear you call in and bitch about something going on in your life. I do it all the time. No one really listens. I kind of just talk to myself. Again, Dale 04, call in. You can do it for a minute, or on Skype or something. I know you're over in the UK, but give us a call, 717-220-3358. We'd love to hear from you. I'll play those tonight on the Late Night on Campus. And we're really, Donnie, going to look to make that show more about calls and have some fun with it. So yeah, sure. I'm looking forward to it. Let's
now, Jeff, even with the call-in, could me and you possibly call in there? Because I know you'd like to go off about like BAPIP and FIP and,
Oh, sure.
Exit Velo or Velo.
Actually, Donnie, it's funny you say that. I actually did call the line the other night after I lost the Cavs game, and I was pretty upset. And I thought to myself, this is my life at this point. There's no one here. I'm so distraught that I'm actually going to call in to my own line. And, yeah. So, I mean, do you want to hear that?
Man. Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun time on that. Yeah. Well, you got it over there for queued up?
Yeah. I'm not much of a loser to do this, but I just need to vent for a second because I can't believe what I just witnessed. An 11-0 run, a God's fucking team of gift to earth, Golden State Warriors on an 11-0 run and beat the Cavs. First thing I got to ask is, what the fuck is LeBron James?
All right, I'm not going to bore everyone, but as you can see, I called into my own line. So, Donnie, call in. You want to call in, go ahead. I don't care. Have some fun with it. We'll get to those calls on the late night show.
Yep. Now we certainly will. Next up on the docket, another interesting pitching matchup here today, Jeff. 7:35 p.m., 9:05, 9:06 on the rotation. That's going to be Matt Harvey and Julio Teheran. 1,500 tickets have already been posted on this, so some light betting action. A 50-50 current split here in the public. Opened up a slight favorite, if you want to call it, -108 to Atlanta here. Has since gone the way of the Mets. -110 at Pinnacle, -111 at Chris, -111 at 5 Dimes. If you're taking a look there, over under in this one, Jeff, opened at 9.5. Currently sitting across the board at 9.5. Particulars on this matchup, Jeff. Harvey, 11 starts, 5.43 ERA, 1.484. Still trying to get over Adrian Lima. Had a couple good starts there, but since regressed in his last start. And if we take a look here at Teheran, I saw an interview with him saying, mounds are different across the league. Just can't figure this one out just yet at home. And boy, has he not. 6 home starts, Jeff, 8.40 ERA with a 1.8 whip. Mets 11-13 on the road. Atlanta 4-3 in June after posting 2 straight winners versus the Phillies. This is 2 pitchers here. Didn't think they would have this type of season here, Jeff. A hitter's ballpark. We could see some runs here tonight.
It's funny, Donnie, you said that after getting over the Adriana Lima thing. It's amazing still to me that Matt Harvey got Adriana Lima. That's still astounding to me. But again, hey, I mean, when you got money, I guess. Yeah. You make a point here, a good point, Donnie, about runs. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but Mets are 35-14 to the over this year, Donnie. That's 71% to the over. It's amazing. You look at on the road, on the road, 16-5 to the over against teams at losing records, 22-5 to the over. I mean, if you're starting to see a pattern here, overs have been coming in. I mean, it's just amazing. Their pitching's been horrible on the road. The Mets have actually been a bit better offensively on the road too, Donnie. They're hitting 271 on the road, which I was surprised to see because at home they're in the 220s. It's amazing kind of when they go on the road, kind of what happens. I've said it before and I'll say it again, though. When I can get Harvey against a team like the Braves, like the Padres, like a team that he can pitch well against, I still think there's value on Matt Harvey. I still think he's a good pitcher. At this price, I have to go with the Mets. I just think they're a better overall team. The Braves are mired right now in some slumps. I will look to see that lineup there for the Braves, Donnie, because have you seen that lineup they put out where they throw in that like Ryu Reese guy?
Ryu Reese put out like the 7 or 8 hole.
Yeah, they have another young kid as well. And that lineup seems to just not produce at all. So I might look to see what the lineups are in this game, but I like the over just because Teheran's had struggles. And Donnie, what would this number be 2 years ago? This
2 years ago, 7.5.
Right. It's just Teheran has just completely fallen from grace. An 8.40 and 6 home starts. He's given up 9 home runs. Actually, I'm sorry, 6 home starts, 9 home runs. So, yeah, it could be a boombox down there in SunTrust Park tonight. But I think just from the pitching standpoint, and I do think the Mets lineup is slightly better on the road, I would take a shot here with the Mets probably.
Gotcha. Next up on the docket, Jeff, Milwaukee and Arizona, rotation 909, 910. Interesting dichotomy here, Jeff. We take a look at 2 teams that can slug it at the plate in a hitter's environment where Arizona is piling up runs, it seems, at a record pace at home. Davies and Delgado are going to go at it today. Yesterday, the premium play that I had was on the over in the Brewers game, which looked like it was going to be an easy winner in the top of the 6th. But as you know, it's never a winner in baseball till you get that one last run. And Eric Sogard hit a solo blast in the bottom of the 9th inning, which sent that game on tilt I believe the final ended up 9-5 in extra innings. So it ended up covering easily when technically it didn't do that. But we'll always take the winning play in hand. Davies Delgado today here, Jeff, 74% are backing currently here. Ticket-wise, the Arizona Diamondbacks at home opened up at -137. Pinnacle reading at -140, Jeff, but -141, 5 dimes. So you're probably looking in that high 130s, 140s range there to keep it interesting. Davies and Delgado. Now, as we talked about it before, Jeff, I love Milwaukee's lineup. I think they can hit. There's no question Arizona rakes at home. But if we take a look at this pitching matchup, it's kind of interesting. Last 3 starts for Davies, he's been really good. 2.65 ERA. Delgado through 3 starts, 1.80 ERA. Milwaukee, very good road team at 15-10. Arizona, Jeff, which you've been railing upon since baseball season opened up as a good home team, 24-8, piling up runners. Something's got to give here today, Jeff. Is it going to be the hitting or is it going to be the pitching here?
Yeah, again, I hate to call it myself, but I mean, Donnie, 24-8 at home. I mean, what do you
That's
want?
your squad. Yeah, props on that, man.
Come on. But yes, Davies, Donnie, actually pitched against the Arizona Diamondbacks back on the 25th of May. Went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. He did lose that game just because the Milwaukee Brewers couldn't hit. But, yeah, I mean, you look at that home record. I mean, they just continue to score at home, Donnie. They put up a big number again yesterday. They crushed the Padres. I mean, that in that series in general, 296 at home, almost 6.5 runs per game. And Donnie, the impressive thing about not only are they hitting in Chase Field, opponents are only hitting 230 in Arizona against them this year. So their pitching's been very good. Their bullpen is much better than it was last year. I mean, they may have had the worst bullpen in the major leagues last year. They now have hastily improved that. I think at this price, I mean, we can't also knock, Donnie, how Delgado has been. He's been fantastic. Him and Godley coming kind of in to help out here. They've been impressive. And I got to be honest, Donnie, they pitch much better than like Patrick Corbin has. They've been really good, and Delgado's been particularly good. 3 earned runs over his last 15 innings. At this price, I think overall, Donnie, as far as the games we've talked about, this is my favorite game. I continue to mention I always bet on Arizona at home. So, going forward, if you see that, just know I'm on it. So that would be where I'm going here. So I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, despite that good pitching matchup, Jeff, opened up at 9.5, currently sitting at 10 at most books. But, I mean, can you fault them? Just the overall way that Major League Baseball season has gone, where it's definitely trending toward the over, late inning games or 2-1. How about last night, if you take a look at the Houston game versus Kansas City, 1-1 heading into the 9th, you almost lost your total if you were betting the under just with a 9th inning explosion. So a lot of things can happen there. 2 good pitchers entering in this. And I know it's 2 very good hitting teams, but a 10 spot in Arizona, I can't wait to see how that one turns out, man.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Again, I'm not particularly high right now on the Brewers offensively, so we'll see how that goes. And I got to be honest, I don't know that Davies is a guy that I necessarily trust. So.
Yeah, not an overpowering pitcher by any means. More of a Greg Maddux. I'm going to throw that slow curveball at you. So we'll see how it stacks up there in the desert. Next up on the docket here, Jeff, we're going to head out to the West Coast again with Cincinnati and L.A. It's going to be Garrett and Hill on the mound. Battle of the lefties. 25% of the tickets currently coming in, backing Amir Garrett here on the road. Line opened up at 8.5. Looks like it's 8.5 pretty much across the board. Heavy favorite for the Dodgers here tonight, Jeff. Chris now showing a -200 for the Dodgers. Going into some information on the game itself, Amir Garrett's been terrible.
Don?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I think you skipped one.
Did we? I have 910, 909, 910 is Davies Delgado, 911, 912 Garrett and Hill.
I could have sworn we skipped the Phillies Cardinals.
Oh, actually, we did skip the Phillies Cardinals 2 back. Yeah, we'll round back and hit that one up there. 25% back in there, 8.5. Huge favorite for the Dodgers. Taking a look here with Amir Garrett, 9 starts and 7.17 ERA. Last 3 starts, 16.20 ERA. Hill's last 3 home starts, not that good. 6 even. Cincinnati on the road, 10-15. Dodgers own home out there in Chavez Ravine, 22-10. Looks like another one, Jeff. You might be able to tee up one of your run lines here. How about it?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? 22-10 at home. You look at those 22 wins, Donnie. 18 have come by 2 or more runs for the LA Dodgers. Rich Hill has had some problems this year, Donnie. He hasn't been his typical self. We've talked about his blister issues at times and, that kind of thing. And you look at the fact that he's only going, Donnie, about 4 1/3 per game. I mean, it's just not good enough. And that is concerning here. But Donnie, I'm not sure you can find a 3-game stretch worse this year than what we've seen from Amir Garrett over the last 3 games. I mean, a 16 ERA over his last 3. These numbers are just unbelievable.
That's unheard of, man. Yep.
21 earned runs over his last 11 2/3. He's given up 9 home runs in 3 games. I'm baffled at that. Whip is very high. I'm not interested in Cincinnati on the road here. Again, Rich Hill, am I in love with him? No, but Dodgers on the run line for me, man, as always. I've made a ton of money doing it. 18 out of 22 by 2 or more runs. That's a very high percentage. We got a bullpen to kind of back us up here. I like it. Rock with it.
Yeah, Cincinnati can swing the bat a little bit. We all know that. But is Amir Garrett going to be able to slow down the Dodgers? And again, the same type of theme keeps coming up over and over and over with the Dodgers winning. Still waiting for Justin Turner to get back. Still waiting for Peterson to get healthy. I want to see that 1 through 9. Is he back yet?
Turner's going to be in the lineup tonight, from what I understand. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's only going to help the lineup.
Yep.
Will he hit? I don't know. But again, I mean, it's not bad having him in there. So, someone's asking about Dodgers team total 4.5. Yeah, I mean, why not? Amir Garrett, I mean, it's been historically bad how bad Amir Garrett's become. I mean, Donnie, remember when everyone was sucking his cock?
First couple starts, yes, absolutely.
I mean, he's really come back to earth, hasn't he?
You know what even hurt him even more, Jeff, is the fact that operating as a small market team like the Reds like to do, they sent him to the minor leagues to save on his service time, brought him back up, and he's been getting raked.
Yeah, and I know the Dodgers are not a particularly good team against lefties. They're scoring about 4.5 runs a game, hitting 244, but they're back at home, a place that they've done well. And Donnie, I mean, you look at pitching in Chavez Ravine this year, opponents are hitting 213 in Chavez Ravine this year. That's dominating stuff. Their bullpen has an ERA of 1.96. And Donnie, I have to also point this out. It's again not like Amir Garrett's. I mean, Cleveland can't hit lefties. They hit him for 7 runs. Atlanta hit him for 8 runs, and the Cubs hit him for 6. So again, I understand the Cubs, but Cleveland can't hit lefties, and Atlanta Braves tagged it for 8. So this guy has some problems right now.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. If you're going to break out, and the Dodgers haven't been raking as they were a couple weeks ago, but this is a perfect game for them to break out on. I tried to forget the Philadelphia Phillies, Jeff. You caught me here, so let's get back to it.
Was that on purpose or
no,
what?
It actually wasn't on purpose. 9:07. Yes, go ahead, man.
Before we get into it, you can still join the SBR June Bets Point contest. You can actually join it up until, again, probably you want to start joining the last week, before the last week, because you need to get in at least 60 plays. Donnie, I am about 70 plays in, so I'm just betting every game. I had a tough day yesterday. I lost like 5 units. Again, I'm just betting every game blind. I'm just, some of the times I'm not doing the show, I just go on and just bet them. I'm not doing too well. I'm 31 and 38, so not too good. But again, I still have 20 plays with 2 3-unit plays. So hey, I'm coming for Susana, and we actually have an interesting name up the top, Donnie.
The retard.
The retard's actually number 1, 22 and 3, 88.
That's amazing. 22 and 3. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, that is very good. I'm not sure who that is, or he must show himself. But again, very good job, retard. But I do want to talk about Susana. He's been very good in this contest. 52 and 32. And I did a little digging, Donnie, on Susana, and I'm a little concerned. Do you happen to know what he does by day, Donnie?
I do not. Is he an police officer?
No, he is a computer coding enthusiast who, quotes, loves hacking.
Ooh.
So, again, little concerned about his validity in this contest. I'm not saying he hasn't done well, but I wonder, does he know something we don't, Donnie?
Yeah, he might have been behind WikiLeaks. I mean, you never know who you get out there,
Right. But again, I want to shout at him. Very good job, my friend. We'd love to have you on our show anytime. You can come on and chat it up with us. Should be fun. But very good job, my friend. You've done very well. Donnie is still not.
I'm right in the middle of the pack, 138, sitting at an even 0-0. I'm telling you, I will have 90 plays in this competition. You just wait. I'm waiting for the dust to settle. I'm waiting for my target who I got to come after, and then we're just going to get after it, man.
And not for nothing, he says he's a software engineer. I mean, I'm just reading from your Twitter, man. It says coding enthusiast who loves hacking. So Again, just saying. But no, you've done a good job. I'm only messing with you. A very good job, my friend. And
yeah, Jeff, don't make that guy mad because he'll tap into
no,
your phone and get the nudes right off your phone, man.
no, I actually, Zach Sasana, reach out to me. I have a question for you. I'd like to hear from you. And I'd like to hear from you on a personal level. So reach out to me. I actually have a question for you. But, Donnie, let's jump into the Phillies.
Let's get back there. Hellickson and Waka on the mound today. Two star aces of their staffs, 28% are backing the Phillies on the road. Always the running joke is 28 idiots are actually backing the Phillies here on the road. Totals 8.5. Simply has actually bumped up to 9 here. Waka at home, minus 184, a heavy favorite. Let's just take a look at some of the numbers. Both of these pitchers leaking oil. Last 3 starts for Hellickson, Jeff, a 1.7 whip matched up with a 7.72 ERA. Waka, he must be a much, much better pitcher. His last 3 starts, Jeff, 2.3 whip with an 11.92 ERA. Something's got to give out there in the heartland of America with baseball heaven, the best fans on earth. Maybe they're going to be really nice to Waka tonight, but I'm not interested in backing the Phillies on the road. I'm certainly not interested in taking a tail-spinning Cardinals team, Jeff, almost at minus 200 here.
Yeah, Phillies 9-23 on the road. So if you're looking for a silver lining there, it would be not bet them. That would probably be it. They're hitting just 232. Hellickson, Donnie, I think you talked about it. He was decent for the first several games of the year, but he's really tailed off. Donnie, ever since that back problem,
that back injury, whatever it was or whatever he had, something's really up with him.
But you look at the Cardinals, which I mentioned yesterday, Donnie. I think the Cardinals have a top 5 worst lineup in baseball. Out of the whole major leagues, they are just brutal.
It's the same guy, 1 through 8, it feels like.
Yeah, they have no power. They have nothing to be excited about. It's just amazing. You look over the last 7 games, 0-7, hitting just 212, a measly 212. And during that 7-game stretch, Donnie, just 20 runs. If you're not good with math, that's about 2.8 runs a game. So not good, not good, not good. Waka, though, has been very good at home.
Yes.
Look, I don't want to bet this game. I won't bet this game. I have no interest in betting this game. And, Donnie, I've mentioned to you, in the contest, I usually pick 90% of the games on the card. I might leave one that I just hate. This would probably be it. I actually have taken the Cardinals the last couple of days just because I'm betting every game, and they fucked me several times. So, this Cardinals seems dog shit. I have no interest in them, but the Phillies are even worse. Stay away.
Yeah, look at the game as a whole. The over-under's 9. The Phillies could bring their bats and get 6, as they have in a couple weeks, or they could bring their bats and get 6 hits. How bad have the Cardinals been? Are they going to be able to hit? They seem to not be able to hit anybody. And Waka's a bad pitcher right now. So one of these games where if you have a vision on this game or you studied up on this card and you love this game, good luck. I'd like to hear from you because getting a handle on either one of these teams and saying this is the right moment to bet them, I just can't see it here, Jeff.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it is a bad stretch. Waka did face the Dodgers twice. He didn't really pitch well against them. And again, I won't defend him, but all I'm saying is he has pitched pretty well, and he has been a guy that normally gets run support in his career. So, yeah, I guess another lesser of two evils game. So that would be how I'd look at it.
Next up, 9:13, 9:14 on the rotation, Jeff. We'll come back a little bit closer to the East Coast here. We'll go with the White Sox and the Indians. Light betting through the game so far. Under 2,000 tickets have been tracked. 20% are backing the Chicago White Sox here with Gonzalez on the mound versus Kluber. The total, Jeff, is it sitting at an 8 is what it opened up as. There's some 9s out there, so a full jump in a run. As I said, 80% of the tickets backing Kluber in this one. He's now up to minus 255 at Chris. If you're interested in laying that as a money line, I don't really have much value on that one. I don't even know if the run line would even stick out too much as a home team with the favorite in that. And we've talked about it time and time again with Cleveland. Still waiting for them to wake up. Some particulars on this game. Gonzalez has not been good in his last 3 starts. Started out the season very well, but since a 6.27 ERA in his last 3, road whip at 1.6. Kluber coming back off an extended DL list. 6 innings, 10 Ks, 0 earned runs, right back in midseason form. White Sox on the road, Jeff, 13-22 after the loss yesterday in Tampa Bay. But Cleveland only 29-28. When are we going to wake up out there?
Well, I'm wondering for that. I'm need to see a little consistency. They can't hit left-handed pitching, which has been a problem for this team. But against righties, they've been just fine. So I think they'll be fine tonight against a poor White Sox team who has been very poor lately. you look at Kluber, vintage Corey Kluber, Donnie, in his last outing, didn't give up a run. You look at in his career, he's been very effective against the White Sox with a 3.10 ERA over 15 starts. He should own this lineup tonight, Donnie. It's just one of those things where you look at Kluber and you say to yourself, this should be a nice long night for him. They have one of the best bullpens in the major leagues. If they could score some runs, I think this is going to be a very straightforward game, a 6-2, something like that. I think this is kind of where you see the Indians, put up a good amount of runs. Gonzalez hasn't been particularly good. And you should see an Indians team kind of dominate the White Sox tonight. But, if we've learned anything from the Indians, it's that you shouldn't lay big numbers with them. If I had to play this game, I would lay the run line with Kluber. But we've seen Kluber, Donnie, get jumped on a little bit this year. So I hope he pitches better here and kind of builds off his last game. I would take a shot with the Indians here. Kind of straightforward, but the White Sox against right-handers is a complete no-no.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in the White Sox at this point. I mean, they are what they are. Very surprised they got off to that hot start, but they're starting to fade back sort of to what they are. The one thing I can point out, though, Jeff, is usually when you come back on the DL, you might be a little bit sloppy. Kluber's stuff was Cy Young-ish, I would like to say, in his last outing. So if he can build off that momentum, and again, the White Sox on the road, not that great of a ball club. So
no, they're not. So this should be a 6-2 type of game.
Yes, I mean, I could definitely see something like that. Next up on the docket here, Detroit is going to travel over to Boston here, Jeff. Rotation 9-15, 9-16, 36% of the tickets backing Zimmerman at this point. If you know me, watch the show. Not the biggest fan of Zimmerman. I think he's the equivalent to a shot boxer at this point. Johnson's going to come on the mound and get another spot start, the lefty there for Boston. Over under, Jeff, opened at 10. Chris sitting currently at 11, like it's Coors Field East at this point. 64% of the tickets, Jeff, coming in on the Boston Red Sox here. Opened up at a -155, but has backtracked, Jeff, to 5 dimes at -131. Particulars on this ball game. Zimmerman's been bad, especially on the road. 5 road starts, 7.07 ERA with a 1.6 whip. He hasn't been better even overall, Jeff. His overall number is 1.57 if you include his home starts with walks and hits to innings pitched. Johnson's had 2 great spot starts so far this year. 13 innings, only 2 earned runs given up. Detroit 13-18 on the road, but 9-5 versus left-handed pitching. Finally getting Ian Kinsler back. They're going to stack the right-hand side tonight. Boston 17-10 at home after getting shellacked by your New York Yankees yesterday. Interesting game. One decent pitcher so far technically, but Zimmerman on the road. I think the wind is blowing out a little bit here in Boston, but an 11 as a total. Just no value for here, me big man.
It's moved it to 11. Just amazing. Yeah, I mean, we've never seen totals like this in the major leagues. I mean, I remember where it was only in Coors would you see totals like this. Just really amazing. And look, the bookmakers are expecting another poor outing from Jordan Zimmerman, who we've talked about, Donnie, might be the worst $100 million pitcher ever signed by a team. I mean, he's just horrible. His WAR is below 0, which is amazing. Listen, I mean, Brian Johnson pitched well, a complete game shutout against the Seattle Mariners. But keep in mind, Donnie, we've talked about how poor the Mariners are on the road. There's just no interest there. They might be one of the worst road teams in baseball. And you're getting a Detroit team in here who you mentioned will stack the lineup with right-handed pitching. They're hitting .337 over the last 7 games. Their lineup is starting to wake up. And look, they've been very good this year for the most part against left-handed pitching. I think Zimmerman will continue to have trouble. You mentioned it, tough road numbers, an ERA over 7. He's given up 9 home runs in those 5 starts on the road. Look, if I had to play this game, I would go with the over still at 11. I think we see a lot of runs in this game. 2 bullpens, one that I trust, one that I really don't trust at all. With the way the Tigers have been hitting right now, I think they tee off on Johnson personally. And we all know Zimmerman has problems. So I think we see a 7-6 type of game here.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm backing Jordan Zimmerman. I've watched him front and center quite a bit this year, and you can just tell when a pitcher doesn't have it anymore. Walking batters, you can't get the strikeout that you need. The swing and miss ratio is off. I can't trust him, especially in the environment, which, again, I thought I saw early on where that wind was going to be blowing out. So I'm going to be off that. And, again, if you're leaning towards anything, can you see both of these teams reaching 5 runs tonight, Jeff? I can see that as well. So I would be leaning toward the over, even though there isn't much value in actually taking that over. So we'll see what happens there in Boston tonight.
to one of the D. Patrick, the listener on here, who mentions that the Boston Red Sox offense is not very good. That would be incorrect completely. They're top 10 in every major batting category. Their slugging's not good, which we've talked about. They have power issues, but they're very good as far as not leaving runners on base for the most part. So
Pedroia is back tonight too, I think, Jeff.
Right.
I saw.
Look, I've talked about it. They don't have any power. I mean, they definitely don't. But I still think from a batting average perspective, they're still a very good team. And Brian Johnson, again, I don't think we should read in much to his complete game shot. It was against the Seattle Mariners, and I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure Cano or Cruz was not in that lineup that day. So, I don't think Boston's as bad as maybe their lineup might consist of, but they have no power. You would be right on that aspect.
Yeah, I think that was the interesting start there in one of those games, Jeff, where Johnson pitched against Whalen. So, just a weird game overall, the way that one turned out. But next up on the docket tonight, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the two teams, probably the highest rated TV ratings in Major League Baseball between these two. Who am I talking about? The Oakland Athletics and the Tampa Bay Rays. 38% backing the road team here, which is the Oakland Athletics, with my man Triggs on the mound versus Alex Cobb. 8.5 the total opened up. It moved up to 9. Minus 137 here being for Cobb. Looks like it's going back a little bit there. 5 times now, posting a minus 28. Taking a look at some particulars here, Jeff. Triggs on the road, very good. 4 road starts, 0.72 ERA. Last 2 home starts, though, if we include Boston and Washington, he was wrapped around, crushed, whatever you want. Didn't even stand a chance in those games. So hopefully going back out on the road might help a little bit. Cobb, 4 home starts, 3.67 ERA. Seems like just about every one of those Tampa Bay pitchers gives you the same thing. But he's been roughed up also in his last outing. Oakland home, Oakland on the road. 2 completely different teams. On the road, Oakland 8-20 overall. Tampa Bay 18-14. Losing Kiermaier last night on an interesting slide in the first base. Jammed up his hip. Looks like he could be out for 2 months. Now, I'd like to preface to say that, Jeff, I'm a totals better, and right now I'm an over type of better. That's actually really good news if you like to bet totals for the over on Tampa Bay, because when Kevin Kiermaier is right in center field, he steals runs. Now with him being out for an extended period of time, that might even open up it a little bit more for totals, just looking at one of those, quirky advantages that you might have. Kiermaier injury bat, doing a lot better than what he was doing in the past, but his center field skills when he's on takes a lot of runs away. So he's going to be out there, Jeff. Any thoughts on this game between the A's and the Rays?
Yeah, and now I guess you put Peter Borges in center field, which, look, Peter Borges, I mean, he's no Kevin Kiermaier, but, yeah, I mean, you make a good point there about totals. But, you also make a good point that his bat's not in the lineup now, and he's been pretty good for the most part. Look, we don't really talk much about overs or unders on this show. We don't really bet unders ever. I should have had my head examined. But last night, I saw a team in the Rays who can't hit lefties. I saw a team in the Chicago White Sox who can't really hit anything. And I saw Derek Holland off a bad start. I figured he would come back and pitch well. I guess I was wrong. Derek Holland obviously regressed completely back to Derek Holland. But I got to be honest, Donnie, I would maybe look under here. I know I'll go back to the well. This is a shitty atmosphere down in Tampa Bay. Triggs has been, your boy, very good on the road. And Cobb has been okay. On the side, I guess I would go Tampa. I didn't look much into this game, but I guess I would lean under 9. Conrado Mendoza, quickly. I would take Josh Jackson over anyone in the draft. He'll be better long term. Agree. I think he's the best player in this draft as far as overall ceiling and potential. I will, Donnie, finally have my mock draft released. I actually want to do a show for it, but I can't seem to find anyone that wants to talk for an hour about the NBA draft, which I find interesting. But I might just do it on my own. We'll see. But I'm going to put that out soon. I love Josh Jackson, though. Hit the like button. Yes, thank you. Please. We have a ton of people watching, 105 people watching, but 37 likes. Where are you at? Big Man, are you a shower or bath guy? I would never take a bath in my life. I have no interest. I am a shower guy completely.
How about that? So we're getting down and dirty there for you, Big Man. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Jim Bean is
personal knowledge right there. I like it.
He has some weird takes on things, but I do welcome the questions. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, we got to get Vig Simon in here to write up he
doesn't like me.
Playwright in here for us.
I don't think he'll be on our chat much. He doesn't like me. I think he thinks I'm a buffoon.
Next up on the Do you ever see his comments or anybody out there? I mean, I watch the show sometimes and other shows on SBR on the replay. He has some great comments, like in the actual comment section after the show is over, that do give me a chuckle once in a while.
You talk about buffoons. I mean, my God, he's a buffoon.
Next up on the docket here for us, Jeff, we're going to go to your home stomping grounds here, Baltimore and the New York Yankees. Bundy Montgomery, 2,500 tickets currently recorded here, 70% backing the home team here behind the lefty. Montgomery opened up at -120, Jeff. Seeing some nice action in your favor for the Yankees at -143. Total opened up at 9, currently sitting at 9. Some 9.5s are poking their head if we get to some particulars here, Jeff. Bundy's been pretty good overall in the season. 12 starts, 2.94 ERA. Montgomery's last 3 starts, Jeff, nice for the youngster. 1.06 ERA. Baltimore 10-17 on the road. We know how good they are at home, but obviously hasn't propelled them to any road success. The New York Yankees, one of my favorite stats here, obviously being 19-9 at home. But Jeff, how do you win in baseball? How do you stack up and win in the playoffs? 19-9 overall, Jeff, versus winning teams. That tells you the type of ball club you have.
Yeah. By the way, with Montgomery, very nice surprise for him this year.
Yeah.
This pitching rotation has really kind of kept it together, even without our friend Tanaka pitching well.
Yeah.
They've been otherwise very effective. Look, the Yankees are 19-9 at home, Donnie. They're another very good home team. They've hit 273 and scored 6 runs a game. And you look at opponents hitting 223. That's amazing, Donnie. In that ballpark, opponents only hitting 223 this year in Yankee Stadium. 15 of their 19 wins, Donnie, have come by 2 or more runs for the Yankees. Look, at this price with Bundy, I like Bundy. I'm not a fan of the Orioles, though, on the road, Donnie. I'm not a fan of fading the Yankees at home. And Montgomery just faced them and pitched very well in that game. So, yeah, I would lean Yankees here. I don't know that I'll bet on it, but when I can get this price at home with the Yankees against a team that isn't particularly good on the road, I'll go with the Yankees. Big man, on your mock draft, you have Lonzo Ball going number 2 to the Lakers. It's Lonzo, not Lorenzo. And you'll have to wait and see, my friend. But, yes, I would go Yankees.
Yeah, Jeff, what a sloppy game last night with two teams basically taking the night off with their lineup. I'm talking about the Nationals and the Orioles. Orioles didn't even show up. Moving on, I know Manny Machado had an MRI, did come back clean, so it's going to be a wonder if he's even in the lineup tonight or maybe give an extra few days off to rest. So we'll see what happens.
Why does play bad mean you're hurt nowadays in baseball?
What's that?
Why is every player now that if you're bad and suck, you're hurt all of a sudden?
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with him being hurt before. I think he got spiked or whatever it is, but he's just, for a guy that's so damn talented, he's always going to play a good third base, but just not hitting the baseball the way it has been in the past, though. You're right. Yeah, but pitchers I agree with. You give up 6 earned runs over 2 innings and your lat all of a sudden hurts and you got to sit out for a couple weeks. So, yeah.
I hear you.
Always that more like the cornerback, Jeff, that gets beat deep and then just grabs his hamstring, even though he didn't really hurt it. So I guess same type of philosophy on that one.
Good stuff here. Unders 10-0-1 in Bunny's last 11 starts during game 1 of a series. That's a great stat. Again, though, I'm just not a big under guy, particularly in this stadium.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that game. Next up on the docket, Jeff, we'll go to one of the best teams in baseball. Actually, I should say the best team in baseball. Angels and Houston Astros, Shoemaker versus Peacock here. 84% of the public, Jeff, currently coming in here with the Houston Astros. Opened up at -182. Since come back a little bit to -173 at 5 dimes here at SBRodds.com. Taking a look at the total here, opened up at 8.5. Currently sitting at 8.5, even with that lineup there for Houston that can do a lot of damage. Schumacher through 12 starts, 4.12 ERA. Peacock through 3 starts coming in, handling those DL pitchers on the DL. He's been doing very good, 3.60. But a key, the whip, Jeff, under 1. So keeping traffic off the bases, keeping his teams in games. The Angels, 13-20 on the road. Houston, 43-18. I just like saying that number. It seems to impress me each and every day. Teams built to win. They're built long-term here. Let's see how they finish the season. But just in this particular matchup here, LA, can they bring enough on offense here? They actually surprised me quite a bit, Jeff, in Detroit. I don't know if that says more about the Detroit pitching staff, but that light lineup from what you see, put up some runs there in Detroit. Can they carry it over here in Houston?
Donnie, you and I talk all the time about pitchers, teams that hurt us, that kind of thing. I can't tell you a team that's hurt me more than the Angels this year. Every time I bet against them, they scored 10 runs. When I bet on them, They can't hit their way. I could pitch them and they can't hit. It's amazing how bad I am with the Angels. I can't figure this team out. And all of a sudden, without Mike Trout, which I'm sure we all believed that they would hit so well without him. Yeah, for this one, I know Lawrence Sturcio is going to the game, which he mentioned on his call the other day. I would go over,
right,
to be honest. I think the Angels are hitting right now. I don't know that I necessarily believe in Brad Peacock. I'm just going to be honest. When I think
regression,
when I think of great starters in the major leagues, Brad Peacock's about 49th on my list. So I don't know that I trust him, and I definitely don't trust Matthew Shoemaker, especially on the road. With the way the Astros can score runs, I could expect the Angels to score 2 or 3 here. I think the over 8.5 is a pretty good play here. You're never getting a bad play taking it over with the Astros the way they hit. And I'll tell you what, their bullpen's a little volatile right now. They have some guys in there that maybe don't belong in there. Pitching, a lot of innings lately. So I would go over for Lauren if he's going to the game. I would look over. It's always fun going to a game when you have some money on it.
No, it should be a go in there. Anytime you get Houston, and again, I can't say it enough. I don't know what happens between like the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings when the other team brings the bullpen in. Just an explosion for Houston on offense can happen at any moment. What a dangerous team, a fun team to watch. They hit for power. They hustle. They're fast. They play good defense. It's a really good team to watch. So we'll see what happens there. But I do tend to agree with you, Jeff. Obviously not taking it under in that situation. One would think if the Angels can get to 3, somewhere in that range that the Houston can put up enough to put that over there. But we'll see what happens here. Next up on the docket, Jeff. I don't know if this is maybe a meeting of the minds, maybe, the meeting of the 5 families here. We got Biagini and Gaviglio here on the mound. 923, 924, 47% backing the road team here with Toronto, with Biagini on the mound. Opened up at -107, Jeff. Has since been bet to -127 as a road favorite here for Toronto. So if you're one of those false flag guys, under 50% of the tickets, line is going higher. That's one you're going to look at. Over, under at 8.5 here, Jeff. Some of the particulars, 3 road starts here for Biagini. That's where he's been touched up. He's been great at home, but a 5.84 ERA on the road. Gaviglio's 2 home starts have went very well. 0.90 ERA. Toronto 12-17 on the road. Seattle 19-11 at home. One thing I do like to preface here, Jeff, without Segura and Cruz, the lineup just doesn't look as enticing to me as it typically does. Hopefully Cruz can get back in that lineup. But yes, Jeff, I knew you would love the meeting of the minds and the 5 families getting together, the conciliaries here, Biagini and Gaviglio.
Yeah, I feel like they'll be joining this guy here up on the wall for a little meeting after the game. I feel like Big Joey Messina and Vinny the Chin Gigante will all be there after the game for a sit-down to talk about tonight's game. Yeah, you have 2 paisans here, Biagini and Gaviglio. Gaviglio, Donnie, has been pretty good at home. A 1 earned run over 10 innings. Yeah, he's a guy that he's actually been pretty good. And, Donnie, I'm not jumping in front of Seattle at home. I mean, this team's been very good in a Safeco Field, a 303 average over the last 7 games, scoring over 7 runs a game. And look, Biagini's decent, whatever. He's kind of like that long reliever type, but in 3 road starts, he's only going about 4 1/3. Both lineups are pretty good here. We should see some runs, but look, at this price, at an underdog price, I think Gaviglio is the better pitcher here. I would take a shot with the Seattle Mariners with the way they played at home. I do want to see a lineup, though. I mean, Donnie, we've talked about, you and I, the lineup of like with Ruiz in it and some of those guys, just not very good. And I want to see Cruz, in there at some point. But, yeah, I don't know. I would lean Mariners just because they're the underdog here.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. The way that line has spiked up there in the favor of Toronto. Now that Toronto has a decent offense, that's what you're waiting for in Seattle. Last night was interesting. I know a lot of casual bettors, and can I blame them? Not really. I mean, Kyle Gibson on the mound in a game where Minnesota gives up only 1 run. I didn't see that one come. I didn't bet on the game, didn't have any total on the game or any side, but waking up to see a 2-1 final in Minnesota with the Minnesota game was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I took that in the contest, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking like, you know what? I'm sure both pitchers would just be fantastic tonight, and Gibson throw his best start of the year and probably his best start of his career. Honestly, I mean, he was fantastic, but don't expect that to continue.
No, absolutely not. Next up on the docket here, Texas and Washington is going to be Cashner and Roark. 81% of the tickets coming in currently here on Washington, Jeff. A minus 171 at Chris currently. Over under at 9. Looks like 9.5 poking its way through there, but mostly 9 across the board. 5 road starts for Cashner, Jeff. 3.68 ERA. 10 starts on the season. It's actually been pretty good. 3.39 ERA. Roark, 6 home starts, a 4.04. Texas, dreadful on the road, Jeff. You've talked about it. 9-18. Washington, 17-9 at home, and 26-8 at night. They like to play in the darkness here. Let's see what happens today. I know you're not a big fan of Texas here, so let them have it, big man.
Yeah, 9-18 on the road, 221, and regression has come to Andrew Cashner, which none of us are surprised by. I mean, if you actually thought I've railed on Andrew Cashner for years. He's just kind of he's like a slob. I don't know. I don't like him. You look at his last 3 outings, 5.5 ERA. He's starting to come back to earth. He kind of looks like me, like on the mound, like how I would look when I pitch. Just kind of. I don't really belong there, and I don't know that Andrew Cashner looks like he should. I don't know, be like a mechanic in Nebraska or something.
Chop wood somewhere, have on the flannels, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like in Southern
work at Trader Joe's, something like that.
He's like some kind of backwoods wood chopper or something. He yells timber all the time. I don't know. But again, Washington very good at home. I've seen them do this a lot, Donnie, where I'll put Roark and the Nationals in a 2-team parlay. It looks like too good to be true, and Roark gets his ass kicked. But I don't know. I can't bet this game. No real interest. Nationals should win, but I'm not crazy about 170 with any team. So.
Yeah, interesting one there. Next up on the docket, Jeff, this is a game that I looked at, and obviously I'm going to cap it as it goes along to see if there's any value. But I can't think of a worse game to look at from a pitching standpoint of what you're actually going to get out of 2 pitchers. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go out to the left coast, 9:27, 9:28 on the rotation. That's Skoglund and Chacin. 53% are actually backing the road team here with the Royals. Over-under opened up at 8. Jeff currently sitting at 8. A light favorite of minus 112 at 5dimes.com. If you're looking at San Diego, they are favored in this situation. Skoglund's first start was great. Second start was atrocious. Chacin, 1.36 ERA. He's been great at home, was roughed up a little bit in his last home start, but over on the season has been phenomenal. Kansas City, 9-17 on the road. San Diego, only 1-5 in June. Jeff, do you have the heart to bet San Diego at any point right now the way they're running?
Yeah, real quick, back to the Seattle game. Kyle, Seattle's not playing at home. Bobby, last time I checked, when they get in their cars tonight, they're going to drive to the ballpark. You act like they're playing some.
Why do they have so many Blue Jays fans going there tonight? I did see somebody make a comment earlier on that.
Either way, but again, it's not like we're going to some soccer game in Morocco where every fan is like a rabid dog. It's baseball, for God's sakes. Who cares about who's in the crowd? You act like it's going to be a sold-out playoff game here. Come on, dude. Who cares about home crowds? I know they're going to their ballpark and they're sleeping in their own beds tonight, and Toronto's not. That's all I give a shit about. I could care less.
But again, why do we have so many? Why is this one of the games they pick out like an Eagles road trip or something? Like why would be there so many Toronto fans in Seattle?
I have no idea. I could care less. I could care less if the whole city of Toronto was going to this game. It wouldn't mean jack shit to me. I could care less.
You know what? I guess that is an interesting thing if you put it. I mean, theoretically, they're Canada's team. I get it, but does that just mean all Canada roots for Toronto Blue Jays? I don't know. I've never actually looked into that actual fan base.
Why is Big Man always angry? I'm not angry. I'm having fun here. This is a passionate show. I'm not going to be like any other person on here. I want to be creative and have fun. I don't buy that angle. I think it's a stupid angle to talk about. I don't think it makes any sense. I'm not too negative. I have fun with this show. I'm not like I'm not going to sit here and say, I agree with you on everything. I don't. I'm not. Howard Stern didn't get where he is by being positive and happy with everyone. It's about being informative, opinionated, and I don't think that means anything. Sorry. But we'll see. I will be interested to see it tonight during the game, Bobby, if that has anything to do with tonight's game. But you mentioned San Diego, Donnie. I don't think anyone was surprised by them going on that 5-game winning streak and then losing 5 in a row. Is anyone surprised by that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that game was a runaway yesterday. It was just an outrageous beatdown.
Right. But you also look at the fact, though, that Chacin has been very good at home. Kansas City's actually played a little bit better lately for the record. But look, I mean, what do you want to do here? You want to take San Diego, who hits 214 at home and can't hit lefties? I think Skoglund might actually pitch pretty well here. I don't know, Donnie. This is a game that I wouldn't put nickels and dimes monies on. I'm not going to put my own money on it.
No, it's a tough one because you don't even know what you're going to get at San Diego's lineup. And heaven forbid if you put that in early and all of a sudden they go, oh, by the way, Will Myers is resting tonight. And then you're just going to burn your ticket. But Skoglund is the type of kid who can give you problems because if you haven't seen him live, he's a big, lanky lefty with an unusual windup and release. So, and again, you don't need any help just getting San Diego, or San Diego doesn't need any help any other way. I mean, they can't hit the ball as it is. Now you're going to get somebody who's a little bit quirky in there. So good luck if you're going to bet that one. But San Diego is a favorite here, so we'll see what happens.
Laugh my ass off at the Howard Stern comparison. If you notice, I didn't compare myself to Howard Stern. I'm just pointing that out. You're right, big man. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. It should be fun during football season, Donnie. That will be really fun. I know there's going to be plenty of people in here with the favorite teams and stuff. We're going to have some fun with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is we're like the Howard Stern show without the Sibby in here. So, I mean, we'll have some fun on the show, yeah.
I mean, we can get one, I'm sure. I'm sure we can find a woman.
Pretty high. I bet we spike viewers probably triple if we added that into the rotation here. So
yeah. These are rabid men on here. I'm sure that won't be difficult.
Next up on the docket, actually last up on the docket here, Minnesota and San Francisco, Santana and Moore, lefty versus righty here, 2,100 tickets posted already, 64% are backing the road team here, Jeff, with the Minnesota Twins. Over-under opened up at 8. How about this? Peeking through a Chris, Jeff, 7.5 right now coming in for this game in the Bay Area. Slight favorite to Matt Moore, opened up at -107, has since been bet to -119 at Chris. Some particulars on this game. 12 starts for Santana. We know how good he's been there. 2.44 ERA, dominant through stretches early in the season. Give or take here, he's slipping up a little bit, but that's always going to happen due to a little bit of regression. Moore's 5 home starts, very good, 2.57 ERA. I wouldn't touch Matt Moore outside of AT&T Park. Minnesota, 18-8 on the road, always playing you tough, especially after a win last night. San Francisco, 25-37 overall. Did go extra innings in Milwaukee. Maybe there might be a little bit of a layover today, but an interesting situation to have San Francisco favored here, albeit a slight favorite over, one would think, a better pitcher than Matt Moore here.
Yeah, you wonder if Irvin Santana will come back, Donnie, and pitch well after that disgusting effort against the Angels, who, if you remember, Donnie, had a 2-unit play on them in that game. He did not pitch well in that game. But you have to figure he'll bounce back here. The Giants hitting just 229 at home. I know Matt Moore's been very good, but again, the Twins have been road warriors all year. They've been people that been very good. And how good is Santana on the road? Up until his last start, he had like a .46 ERA, so very good. So I guess all in all, I would lean Twins here. I just hate the Giants. How does a football show work for college? Do you break down certain conferences Monday to Friday? A lot of ton going on in the fall. Well, I've always done on SBR where I'll pick 4 games a week, and Loshak and I will break down. But I think it'll be a little different. Donnie and I very much into smaller conferences, and it's kind of like college basketball for me. I kind of involve myself in knowing about every team, but I'm very excited for college football, Donnie. I've already done a lot of work with it, and I'm excited.
Yeah, the interesting about that, and again, today, Phil Steele, if you saw, all the tweets out there, order my copy already. It's one of my rights of summer. You just get it in your hands and just rehash what happened last year and moving forward. But the one thing you'll notice about me and the big man, we're very passionate as college football and college basketball as a whole. I mean, anybody can get up here and tell you how much fun Ohio State, Michigan is and some of the bigger conferences there. But we're going to really dig in and find you guys value on the North Texases of the world, the Charlottes of the world, the New Mexico States of the world. We have a lot of fun. We're very passionate to bring you information that you may not have heard of. So coming during football season, of course, we're going to talk big conference, ACC, SEC, and do all that fun stuff. But we have a real passion for unearthing those gems in the lower levels of those conferences there. We're going to have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, I'm a guy that, I've made it clear before. I'm in love with college sports. I always have been. I love baseball. I love soccer. But for me, this is where I kind of cut my teeth. So I'm very excited for that. I know you have the daily SBR shows, big man. I sure do miss the podcast for the drive home. Thank you, man. Yeah, the podcast is where I got my start. That's something that I am trying to get going again with maybe with SBR would be a fun thing that I think people would like. I'm excited for small schools equal value. Donnie, quickly, I'm going to do this very fast.
Yep. Go ahead.
I'll talk about all the other stuff. I'm writing a lot of this stuff down. We'll talk about it on tonight's show, Late Night on Campus. Joe Duffy will join me. We'll talk about some college football. We'll go through the calls and things like that. Quickly, Donnie, NBA tonight. Look, I have a future on the Golden State Warriors. I've told you about that. We got screwed in the last game. I thought we had a good play there with Cleveland Cavaliers money line. It would be hard-pressed to think that Cleveland can win tonight. Donnie, you look at with how good Cleveland played, with how pretty much they were gifted the game, and they still lost. I mean, it's just amazing how hard it is to put the Warriors away. They just don't go away. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how that game closed, I tweeted out with about 4 minutes to go. I say Cleveland will win this ball game if they don't take jumpers and just continually take the ball to the rack. So what do they do in the last couple minutes? Step back three, step back three. I'm LeBron James. I have the lead, but I'd rather kick it out to another player to see if he can make a shot. Winners take that shot. I don't even care, Jeff, if LeBron James went to the rack, bowled over 6 players, not 5 on the court, 6 of them, maybe include Tristan Thompson in there, and got an offensive charge and say, he was being aggressive. But I back LeBron in a lot of situations. When the game is on the line, you're one-on-one, go to the rack. They are ready to call the foul in your favor. Don't kick it out to Kyle Korver.
No, I agree totally. And someone saying on the chat box he didn't see the game being rigged. I disagree. I thought it was very Cavs positive.
The 50-50 calls all went to the Cavaliers. I mean, they can't just make up a call out of thin air, but you saw the charge calls, the ticky-tack fouls. I mean, they were trying to, even right up to the end of the game when Andre Iguodala knocked the ball out of LeBron's arms. LeBron got away with a kick to the nuts and a pull on his arm to try to get the ball. Luckily, the ball went out of bounds and still went to Golden State, but it was pretty evident from the 50-50 calls. Cleveland was getting the majority of that. And the home team does get a lot of those calls anyway. So
yeah, and I forget what show I was listening to. I heard a podcast earlier about, even if Cleveland wins tonight, Donnie, I mean, the likelihood of them winning the series is gone. They're not going to win anything. No. So what, you're going to go to Oracle and play well on Monday?
Yeah, and you're going to get rocked. I mean, this is one of those instances, Jeff. These are multi-millionaires. They're down 3-0. They just had their best shot just ripped out of their heart. They're not going to win. They probably saying, you know what, man, I don't even feel like going on this plane and spending another 4 days here. I'm already making trips to head down to the Virgin Islands. It's a wrap. I'm not getting paid anymore technically. So what's the big deal here?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think tonight they will close it out. Can they cover? I think they win by double digits, the Warriors tonight. But again, I just think they're a much better team. We'll see what happens. Either way, it's been a terrible playoffs for the NBA, just a mess. And it just goes to show you how bad of a product this group has become. You look at last year, what they had to do to the Golden State Warriors for the Cavs to win. I mean, if that doesn't happen, who knows what happens? You look at this year, we have these super teams. Kevin Durant, it's like Kevin Durant. I equate it, Donnie, to being a virgin and fucking a hooker for the first time. It's anybody can do it. It's not that difficult. So for me, it's not. I want to make it mean something. I don't want to just go out and find something easy to fuck if I'm a virgin. That's what Kevin Durant did. It is what it is. But
by the way, in this series with the NBA, like we like to talk about money and it is a business. Imagine if obviously being the Golden State owner, nobody's hurting for money if they own an NBA franchise, especially Golden State in that area, getting the new arena. He's going to be fine. But how about you have home court advantage throughout the playoffs, Jeff, and you never got a third home playoff game in each series? The millions and if you ask any owner out there, they would have loved it if Golden State went 7 first round, 7 second round, 7 third round, and 7 in the finals. That's like $100 million that he's probably lost out on because his team is so damn good. They don't even make it back for game 5. That's amazing.
Yeah, and Thor Marino's talking about the one and done rule. As far as I've made it clear in the past, I don't think anyone should have to go to college. If they don't want to go to college, why are you making them go? We've seen it time and time again. They don't care about it. It's just a waste of time and a waste of a year that they can get injured in. If I was a player, I would try to make it where I don't want to have to go to college. Donnie, we'll wrap it up here.
Yep, sure.
Quickly. I wanted to say 1 or 2 other things. Oh yeah, next people are talking about college football. We're talking about that on the Wednesday roundtable. We're going to start getting in next week to division by division breakdowns. I think we're starting next week, Donnie. So you'll catch our opinions on there for sure. I'll be back tonight at 10 o'clock with Joe Duffy. We'll talk about the game going on. We'll talk about some college football. We'll talk about everything else going on. Quickly, soccer today, Donnie. I just want to throw these out if you didn't get them. Numbers might have changed. I released these 2 days ago, but you have World Cup qualifiers, Donnie. You have a couple going today. I love World Cup qualifiers. Probably my favorite type of soccer to bet on. I got France minus a half a goal at 144. I honestly, Donnie, believe France is the best team in the world. I think they will win the World Cup in 2018, so there's a little future for you. They're just stacked from the top to bottom. I also like Bulgaria today at a pick, draw no bet. Bulgaria has an option to possibly make this tournament. They're off a nice win in the last round against the Netherlands. Belarus is a poor side. I don't think they get – I actually would consider even taking the straight win here, but I'll take the pick, draw no bet, just in case we get plus money value on that. Belgium, I'm going to lay the 2.5 goals. Even without Eden Hazard, this is still a very good Belgium side. They should be able to hammer the opposition today. And Portugal playing Latvia. Latvia is a team that can't score goals. I believe Portugal beat them 4-1 before. Ronaldo will be in this game. You should see 3 of these games should be blowouts. I think we see 3-0, 3-0, 4-0, something like that in all these games. Donnie, last thing I'll say, international soccer, usually it comes to fruition normally. You have a game, Donnie, on Saturday. Germany's laying 7 in a game. So, 7 goals is a lot. We know in soccer, they're laying 7 goals against San Marino. So, Donnie, would you ever lay 7 goals in soccer?
No, I would not. What is it, 6.5, or it's actually -7?
It's -7. I just want to tell you, San Marino, though, is a country very small. Most of their players are part-timers. They are cops, dentists, things like that. So in Germany, many argue, are the best team in the world. They beat San Marino 8-0 in the last game. I actually did lay the 7 goals. I think they hammer them. This could be a 9-10-0 game. So I'm excited for all these. Get on my Twitter. I post them every day.
Amen. Well, that'll do it for the show today on the right side of campus.
You want to put out
MLB,
Donnie? Any MLB? I'll throw out a couple.
I don't really have much of any feel. Go ahead, man. Yeah, give them out.
Quickly. I don't really have much either. I will consider looking, Donnie, at the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Dodgers on the run line, and possibly the Seattle Mariners, but we'll see. Everyone have a great night. Follow us on Twitter. Catch us tonight. Call into the voicemail, 717-220-3358. Everyone have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow as well as tonight.